Welcome to FOMO Consulting for your daily C stock analysis video on Thursday, May 27th. Ladies and gentlemen, this is squeezing in slow motion. I am more than pleased, and I'm sure you are too. And as always, the apes are winning, the diamond hands are winning, and the retail investor is winning. So if you find this video informative and entertaining, please like, share, certainly comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It's a newer channel and appreciate your support. Let's get into the video. So as always, I want to thank everyone who has commented, liked, shared, and subscribed. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you. Let's start with a quote by the legendary Vince Lombardi. Success demands singleness of purpose. No doubt we are all singularly focused on AMC and AMC stock, and we are being rewarded for our collective efforts and patience. So let's look at the broader market today. Overall mixed, but not terrible. Dow was up 141 points, Nasdaq down 1.72, S&P was up 4.89. As you can see with the S&P as shown in the chart below, pretty volatile day pretty much throughout all three markets, but S&P was able to close up for the day. Let's look at crypto. Great day for crypto, up pretty much across the board, everything green at the time of this recording anyway. So a great day. Certainly felt the effects of the broader market as well as other factors. So unbelievable day for AMC. Unbelievable week, quite frankly. It's just it's just so surreal, right? So we closed at $26.52, up $6.96. Unbelievable, 35.58%. Down at the time of this recording after hours. Lots of profit taking, even during intraday, last 20-30 minutes, you could see heavy selling pressure. No doubt short attacks, but also I believe there was some profit taking, and certainly there's been profit taking after hours. Likely will recover back to the green by 8 p.m. as always. So overall, magical, memorable day, right? So I want to show you this one candle right before close. That candle, that big juicy green candle, represents 7.5 million in volume. Absolutely incredible. That one candle pretty much sums up the day. So let's look a little closer here. So AMC certainly was the hottest stock on Webull, 8.93%, and absolutely the most active, and beating SNDL is by far a major accomplishment, including pre-market and after hours at the time of this recording, 697 million in volume. Ridiculous. Great day. So let's look at Mr. Alligator. We are doing quite well. Does anyone remember $12? Remember when back in the day, long time ago? Yeah, that was Monday. So being $12 Monday and nearly touching 30 today, I mean, come on. You can't ask for a better week than this. Certainly the indicators are all bullish. That sell-off at the end of the day and the consolidation and sell-off after hours was the best possible scenario going into tomorrow, in my opinion, by the orange arrow. It had cooled off the RSI substantially, as you can see. We need to get back down into the blue for just a bit, just to kind of chill. And we've certainly done so, but the alligator's mouth is wide open on the hourly candles. 4-hour candles, again, same scenario. RSI is in the overbought area, but as you can see, it's trended down. We're trying to cool off just a little bit. That one little red candle after hours certainly is helping out, but just look at the volume and the MACD. I mean, it's just ridiculous how our week has gone, and I believe tomorrow is set up to be beautiful. So let's look a little closer here. This is absolutely incredible. I placed the green illustration line at $35. Hopefully that's a magnet for tomorrow, right? you know, the yellow indicator or the yellow trend line I've drawn represents pretty much the level of the baby squeeze back in January. Who would have thought that we would have surpassed that substantially uh, just in normal intraday trading without a squeeze at this point? We've already clearly passed that level uh, beyond our wildest dreams at this point, right? No one really expected this kind of week, but certainly on an upward trend, as you can see by the red trend line. Again, on the daily candles, RSI is certainly in overbought territory, but going backwards into late January, you can see we approach these levels for that squeeze at that time. So let's take a bit of a closer look here. You can certainly see RSI needs to chill out, but just an incredible week. Alligator indicators are all wide open. Moving average is certainly bullish, and MACD is without a doubt bullish. So this, what I want to show you here is just the baby squeeze back in late January. Don't sleep on this stock. Pre-market after hours is when it typically runs. As you can see, I mean, even this morning you could see heavy selling from 4 a.m. on. As a matter of fact, when I woke up personally, I saw $17, and I kind of had to take a double check and then walk away from it, obviously. So a lot of volatility in the pre-market and after hours. So just don't sleep on it. Again, closer look. You can certainly see where we hit the high of $25.80 back pre-market in late January. So this chart here shows something ridiculous. At about $30, we are at the highest level AMC stock has been at since 2017. Absolutely mind-boggling. We've accomplished so much in such a short amount of time, but you have to go back nearly 4 years to be at these levels. Incredible. So let's look at the volume, because volume is king to what is going on with us right now. So let's look at today's volume versus before the baby squeeze. So today's volume in the last 5 or 6 days. On the left, on the right, you see the baby squeeze volume. You can clearly see where we are building momentum up to an astonishing level. 1.2 billion was the daily volume the day of the baby squeeze at $20.36. We are half of that, and you can clearly see we are building pressure daily. So there's our best friend GME. So let's see how GME is doing today. So overall, GME had a pretty good day, but as indicated by the yellow arrows, GME is on the right, AMC on the left. We both got hit very hard towards the tail end of the intraday with heavy selling pressure. No doubt that was a coordinated effort. So what I want to show you here is over the last, say, 6 months or so for GME. And what I find very, very important about this, and why I believe we're not yet poised for that huge pop, is I believe, very similar to what you're seeing with GME, I believe they are walking this up, they are running this up, and as you can see what they did, and it finally got to a breaking point where they started exiting their positions when it got to a certain level. This was back in mid-March when GME pretty well squeezed very slowly, it's in slow motion, over many trading days up to the $350 per share level from around $40. So I believe, in my opinion, as each day goes on, I am starting to see a very similar scenario going on. You can see the borrowed shares, they kept shorting and shorting and shorting, no different. They never covered. And eventually they covered, and you can see that huge crazy wick on the day it moved up to $350. I believe we could be in a very, very similar scenario. Let's take another look. So Tesla took about a year and a half, but it was one of the more heavy shorted stocks. Took about a year and a half to squeeze, but started around the $40 level and eventually ended up at $900. They did not want to let go of Tesla. They shorted it. They rode it all the way up and just waited very quietly and waited for it to go down. Again, they have resources we don't have, and this is the proof. So if you see, going way back, this is a 1 year look back on Tesla. You can see where, as the price ran up on your far left, big run up, they exited some of their positions, but certainly not all. But they borrowed a bunch of shares and held on to them. They rode it back down. The price ran up again, and it got to a point where they just shorted it back down. Then it ran up yet again, as indicated in the middle. They exited their positions very shortly, but you can see where they believed at some point Tesla was going to cool off, and they re-entered very heavily, as indicated by that really steep upward trend. And apparently they were wrong because it kept going up. So they exited their positions, and as you can see, it plateaued out and they rode it back down. I believe, again, much shorter time frame, but we could be in a very similar scenario to Tesla, GME, and we'll have those large pops along the way over the coming days. But I believe that they haven't exited their positions, and I'll show you that on Ortex. So quick update. I'm sure some of you that have Webull and others, the news is all ridiculously bullish about AMC. We're all over the place, which is exactly what we want to do to, pardon the pun, drive FOMO. So still waiting on SEC rule filings. I believe they know more than we do, and I believe they are positioning themselves in some degree based on some of these factors. So let's look at some of the key short data here. So overall, estimated short interest percent of free float has gone up 17.09%. Free float on loan 26.55, up just a bit. Shares on loan has gone down just a hair at 130.44 million. Days to cover is about flat at 1.46. I believe it's more than that, but closer to 3 days. Cost to borrow 9.24, about flat, and utilization 99.46. Might as well say 100. There were 5 more institutional buyers that jumped in today to increase us to 422. They've been piling in day by day. The total volume ridiculous at 673 million. Short shares available 75,000. I'm not buying it for a minute. I believe there's less than that, certainly. Short borrow fee at 6.58 according to Fintel. Short interest owners, we're still at 47. So as you can see, especially by the shares on loan, short interest, they haven't exited their positions yet, which kind of goes back to my thesis around those GME and Tesla charts, that they have not found the point of no return. They have not exited these positions. They're going to continue to allow it to somewhat ride up in a very controlled fashion before we actually have a pop. I think that is fantastic. I think that is wonderful for all of us because it gives us a little more control of our situation as opposed to a one-day pop where everyone is mad scrambling, right? So let's look at what they're up to. Start of the trading day, not much going on. That's a first. By the end, there's those 5 to 6 million shares they recycle all the time. So they returned 6.18. They borrowed 5.59. They actually returned about 583. Cost to borrow, again, is somewhat manageable, but it got up to 17%. So overall, you can see their tactics have not changed. So this is the AMC data, and most importantly, those little trend lines on the far right by the yellow arrow are now starting to go down ever so slightly. This is about a 1 day lag, but when we see that major exodus of those trend lines, we will know as well as the borrowed share volume, or borrowed shares all going down. We will know it's going to pop. Again, you can see the slightly downward trend, which would indicate they're at least considering getting out of their positions. We'll see how tomorrow looks after today's heavy day, but no doubt I believe a few more days of this kind of pressure, they will have no choice. So this was yesterday's chart, and you can see the 2.2 to 1 basically call to put ratio, very bullish, very reasonable, and the large, huge amounts of trades. But the one yellow arrow I have regarding the total premiums at 1.3 million, I want to show you what today looks like. So call to put is actually coming back towards neutral, and I said this a few other times. I am looking for this, I believe, when they believe the squeeze is going to happen, when they are going to exit at their positions, they are going to do precisely what they do, which is hedge, and they're going to move to more of a put direction. So this moving a little bit closer to a 1-to-1, I think is exceptionally important because, again, the big money is going to try to ride this down to obviously offset any potential losses that they're incurring right now. The total premiums paid, $2.9 million just in premiums. That is huge. And the large amount of options traded today is just absolutely ridiculous. Ivy has came back from the grave. It's gotten wild, obviously, with all the volatility and certainly the volume. But if you just look at the amount of money and the calls and puts, and you can certainly see far more puts coming into play in this chart than we have in days past. I certainly think that's a good thing for the overall scenario. So here's the battlefield. I believe, and again, I would have never thought this at the beginning of the week, but between 20 and 30, who knows what's going to happen as the absolute extremes. I believe 30 is in play, certainly for tomorrow. We'll see. So it's why I put the yellow line down at 30. 20, 22, somewhere in that range could also be cautionary on the low side. But I believe between 25 28 is going to be a absolute huge battleground. But most importantly is this. I believe what we're seeing is a lot of gamma hedging, market makers having to buy these shares. This was yesterday. If we closed above $20, we would put 162,000 contracts in the money on the call side. Today, if we close above 30 tomorrow, we will put 278,000 calls in the money. Do that times 100, and Tuesday, if not tomorrow, will be ridiculous. As always, I have skin in the game. Had a great day like everybody else, but it is not enough. It is not done. We will continue our fight and continue our march. Let me close with a quote. Remember to take care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. There's a lot of influencers, YouTubers, Reddit, whatever platform you watch, use, or listen to. Take care of yourself, ladies and gentlemen. That is my only advice. There is no shame anywhere for doing the right thing by yourself and your family. And I will always personally support that. This channel is built on taking care of yourselves, whatever that looks like. So, and anyway, I hope that we all have a very successful run again tomorrow and including next week. As always, I want to thank you for watching. Certainly, if you found this video informative and entertaining, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It's a newer channel. Appreciate the support. But as always, I hope your life is full of green candles, and I will be in touch soon. Take care. Bye-bye.